tossed out like a napkin.
He's not my boyfriend.
Someone didn't need
That
sentence
hit me harder
so casual
than
any argument we'd ever had. My name's Ethan Cole. I'm 29, and I run a home renovation and interior design company with my best friend, Mark. We started it in Mark's garage 6 years ago, two guys with second-hand tools, caffeine, and way too much optimism. Now we've got a solid team of 10 craftsmen, run about 6 projects a month, and have a reputation that keeps the phone ringing. It's not $1 million empire, but it's honest work. People trust us. My girlfriend at the time was Sophia Turner. She's 30, a PR manager for a huge lifestyle brand, the kind that puts inspirational quotes on water bottles and sells out within an hour. We'd been together for 3 years. She was sharp, beautiful, and always put together like every day was a magazine shoot. I used to joke that she made business casual look like an Olympic sport. We were opposites in a lot of ways. She thrived in glass towers and boardrooms. I came home covered in sawdust and wood stain, but somehow it worked, or at least I thought it did. The night everything changed was during her company's big product launch gala at the Downtown Art Museum. Sophia had been planning it for months, her career-defining event. She called it about 3 months earlier. She'd asked if my company could handle the stage setup and backstage construction. It would mean a lot to me, she'd said, all soft smiles and hand on my arm charm. So of course, I said yes. We did it at cost, basically free labor, because I wanted her to shine, and it did shine. The whole setup looked incredible, modern, minimal, with brushed oak panels and LED trim that made the stage glow like something out of a movie. I showed up to the gala in my best suit, proud of what my crew had built, proud of her. For the first hour, I mostly hung by the bar, trying not to look like a fish out of water among tuxedos and champagne. Then I spotted Sophia across the room with a group of executives. She was laughing, confident, totally in her element. One of the women she was talking to, a co-worker I recognized from photos. Leela noticed me and smiled. She started walking my way, tugging Sophia along. "Is that him?" I heard Leela say, "Your boyfriend, the contractor. Mr. Reynolds has been asking about him all night." Before she could get another word out, Sophia cut her off with a bright, practiced laugh. "Oh no, he's not my boyfriend," she said, smooth as silk. "He's just the contractor who handled logistics for the event." Just the contractor. For a second, I thought I'd misheard her. My ears burned. The chatter in the room went fuzzy. Lila froze, confusion flashing across her face. But Sophia was already steering her away, all smiles and charm, like nothing strange had just happened. I stood there, glass in hand, heart thudding against my ribs. I wasn't angry, yet just blank, like someone had pulled the plug and the world had gone silent. A few hours later, while everyone toasted to Sophia's vision and leadership, I quietly slipped out. I told her I wasn't feeling well. She barely looked up from her conversation with some VP. On the drive home, things started connecting threads I hadn't wanted to pull before. 3 years together, and I'd never met her co-workers outside quick hallway hellos. Every vacation photo she posted on Instagram was just her solo shots. All perfect angles and captions about self-care. Every trip, every dinner, every milestone I paid for, but never in the picture. Literally, when I asked once why she never posted us, she'd said, "It's just better for my image, babe. You know how PR is." And I believed her. I told myself she was keeping work and personal life separate. that it wasn't about me. But now I knew better. It wasn't separation. It was erasure. When I got home, I didn't yell, didn't cry. I just switched gears. First thing the next morning, I called Mark. "Hey," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Cancel the secondary business card, the one Sophia uses." Then I went through everything: subscriptions, accounts, insurance, utilities. One by one, I removed her name, revoked access, or shut it down. No revenge, just clarity. The apartment lease was in my name. 2 months left. I started packing by the time Sophia stumbled in around 2 a.m. Buzzing with post-event adrenaline, my suitcase was already by the door. "Did you have fun tonight?" I asked. "Oh my God, yes," she said, kicking off her heels. "Ethan, everyone loved it. Even Mr. Reynolds said it was the best launch we've ever done. Your team killed it." "That's great," I said evenly. "Quick question. What did you tell people I do for work?" She blinked, caught off guard. "What do you mean?" "At the event, when you introduced me." Her laugh was light, dismissive. "Oh, that. Babe, I was just being modest. You know how corporate people are. They can be weird about personal relationships with vendors. So your solution was to pretend I wasn't your boyfriend." She rolled her eyes. "Don't be so sensitive. It's not a big deal." And that was it. That one sentence, scurrilous tone, snapped something in me that had been straining for years. "It wasn't just one comment," I said quietly. "It was 3 years of you hiding me because I don't fit your perfect picture." She frowned. "Ethan, you're being dramatic." "I'm leaving, Sophia." She finally noticed the bag by the door. "You're serious? Over this?" "Over everything," I said. "I'm done pretending this works." I walked out before she could say another word. Now I'm staying at Mark's place. The workshop smells like cedar and coffee, and for the first time in months, my head feels clear. But still part of me keeps wondering if I overreacted. If one moment of pride and embarrassment was really enough to end a 3-year relationship. Then I remember her voice again. "Oh no, he's not my boyfriend," and the doubt fades. 2 weeks after I left, my phone blew up. First, it was texts, then calls, then emails, then something worse, notifications. Apparently, Sophia had gone public. I woke up one morning to a string of messages from friends, clients, even my mum. Asterisk, "Hey man, you okay?" Asterisk, asterisk, "Ignore the noise online." Asterisk, asterisk, "You should probably check Instagram." Asterisk, my stomach sank before I even opened it. There it was, Sophia's face, perfectly lit, eyes glassy but strong, a long caption beneath it in her signature, vulnerable yet polished tone, "Greater than sometimes. Leaving a toxic relationship is the bravest thing you can do. Financial control and emotional manipulation aren't love their power." She'd tagged her brand, and within hours, there were thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. Asterisk, "You deserve better, queen." Asterisk, asterisk, "Men like that make me sick." Asterisk, asterisk, "Stay strong, Sophia." Men like what? Asterisk, exactly. The worst part wasn't the light, was the silence that followed, because I knew better than to post a statement. Arguing with a PR professional on social media is like bringing a spoon to a gunfight. She'd crafted the perfect narrative, and I was the faceless villain. Mark found me in the workshop later that day, staring at my phone like it was about to explode. "She's playing the audience," he said flatly. "You knew she would. I just didn't think she'd burn the whole house down to do it." Mark shrugged. "Some people light fires to stay warm. Others do it for the applause." A week later, I got a call from a client we'd been working with a luxury home renovation project in the suburbs. "Ethan, listen," the client said carefully, "we're going to hold off for now. It's just there's been some chatter online about your company. I'm sure it's nothing, but we have to protect our image." Protect their image. That phrase, that irony, it stung more than I wanted to admit. By Friday, we'd lost 2 contracts, all because one woman with a perfect smile knew exactly which strings to pull that night. I went to a local dive bar, not my usual scene, but I needed the noise, something to drown out the echo of my own thoughts. That's where I met Emma Reyes. She was sitting 2 stools down, sketching something in a notebook with a mechanical pencil. No makeup, paint on her jeans, hair in a messy knot. When the bartender brought her drink, she smiled and said thank you like she actually meant it. It took me 20 minutes to work up the nerve to ask what she was drawing. "Cabinet design," she said, without looking up. "I'm an architect. Well, trying to be. You?" "Contractor," I said, half laughing. "Just the contractor." She looked up, then really looked. "You say that like it's a bad thing." Something about the way she said "it's simple" genuine hit deeper than she probably realized. Over the next few weeks, we kept running into each other at the same cafe near the shop. Turns out she was freelancing, picking up small interior projects. One day, she showed me her sketches for a lakeside home renovation and asked for feedback. For the first time in months, I wasn't defending myself or explaining my worth. I was collaborating. She didn't care about image or status or brand synergy. She cared about the work. And somehow, that made me start to care about it again, too. Meanwhile, Sophia's story kept evolving. She posted a podcast episode, then an article, then a video titled, "What Healing from Financial Abuse Looks Like." It wasn't rage I felt anymore, it was exhaustion. You can't reason with someone whose truth is a performance. So instead, I built something new. Mark and I rebranded the company, new logo, new name, new website. We called it Redline Renovations. Clean, honest, transparent pricing. No hidden markups. We leaned into what she used against me, integrity, and slowly, clients started coming back, not because of ads, but because of word of mouth, because people remembered who actually showed up, who kept promises. One afternoon, months later, I was finishing a kitchen remodel when I saw her again, Sophia, standing at the curb, holding her phone like it was armor. "Ethan," she said softly. "You look good." "So do you," I lied politely. "I didn't mean for things to get that ugly," she added. "I was just hurt." "Yeah," I said. "You were hurt, and I was erased." For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she whispered, "You really did love me, didn't you?" "I did," I said. "But love's not PR, Sophia. You don't get to rewrite it afterward." I turned back to my work truck. She didn't follow now, months later. I still hear her voice, sometimes soft, curated, echoing through social feeds. But then I hear Emma's voice too, warm and unfiltered. "You say that like it's a bad thing," and I smile, because for the first time, I'm not just the contractor, I'm the guy who rebuilt his life from the ground up. People think rebuilding starts with demolition. It don't. It starts with silence. That quiet moment when the noise fades, the dust settles, and you finally see what's left standing. For me, that silence lasted months. No dates, no social media, no moving on, just wood, steel, and the steady rhythm of rebuilding everything Sophia had cracked in my business. And in myself, Emma and I started working together slowly. At first, it was small things. She'd draft design sketches. I'd handle the build. Then she started joining client meetings. Somewhere along the line, my architect friend turned into our lead designer. It felt natural, effortless, like we were sanding rough edges off the same piece of wood. She never pried about Sophia, though I caught her eyes flick to my hand once, to the faint tan line where a ring could have been. Instead, she asked questions that mattered. Do you prefer natural grain or veneer? Do you want to keep the original joists or expose them? She talked like someone who respected what things had been, not just what they could look like. That was new to me. About 4 months into our partnership, a storm rolled through. We'd been working on a lakeside renovation, a tricky old cabin with rotten beams and a half-collapsed porch. The rain hit hard and fast, so we stayed late to secure the tarp. By the time we finished, both of us were drenched, covered in mud, laughing like idiots. She looked at me, rain running down her face, and said, "You ever notice how people only show up for ribbon cuttings, never for this part?" I grinned. "Because this part's ugly." "Yeah," she said, "but it's the only part that's real." Something in me shifted, not fireworks, just that quiet, grounding click when two things finally fit together. That night, we sat in the truck, heater humming, rain drumming against the windshield. She stared out the window for a while before saying, "I read that post she made about you." I froze. "You did?" She nodded. "It wasn't hard to find. But I also read every client review your company ever had. Funny thing, not one person described you the way she did." I didn't know what to say. She turned to me then, steady and kind. "You're not what someone said about you online. Ethan, you're what you build when no one's watching." I think that's when I started falling for her, quietly, like dawn light sneaking into a workshop. By spring, Redline Renovations had a waiting list. We'd landed our biggest contract yet, restoring a century-old townhouse downtown. It was the kind of project Sophia would have turned into a press release, but Emma, she just smiled and said, "Let's make it feel like it remembers being loved." And we did. The walls we rebuilt weren't just structural, they were symbolic. Old scars filled. New lines drawn. It was slow work. Honest work, the kind that leaves your hands raw, but your heart steady. The townhouse owner, a retired journalist named Mr. Dawson, loved to watch us work. One afternoon, he leaned against the door frame and said, "You two married?" Emma nearly choked on her coffee. I laughed. "No, sir. Just business partners." He raised an eyebrow. "If that's business, son, I've been in the wrong business all my life." Emma turned bright red. I didn't stop smiling for an hour. Later that evening, as we packed up, she asked, "Do you ever think about what comes next?" "In what way?" She shrugged. "For you? For us? This company? This... whatever it is." I looked around at the half-finished space, the warm light hitting polished wood, the smell of fresh paint, the faint echo of laughter still in the air. This, I said quietly. I think this is what's next. She smiled, that real, unguarded kind, and bumped my shoulder. Then let's build it right. A few nights later, I drove past Sophia's old PR building, through the glass. I saw her on a digital billboard, her face, her slogan, her brand polished, untouchable, perfect. I didn't feel anger, I just felt distance, like watching a movie I'd already seen. Knowing how it ends, I drove on, back at the workshop. Emma was sketching by the light of a single desk lamp. She looked up when I walked in. Couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking, I said. She set her pencil down. About her. I shook my head. About how I finally feel like me again. She smiled softly. Good, I like this version. And that was it. No grand confession. No dramatic kiss under lightning. Just two people sitting in a room that smelled like cedar and rain. Both of us quietly realizing we weren't fixing old things. Anymore, we were building something new. Something solid. Something that would last. They say every house begins with a blueprint. Not just lines on paper, but choices. What to keep. What to tear down. Where the light gets in. For the first time in years, I wasn't rebuilding someone else's dream. I was drawing my own. Redline Renovations was thriving. Referrals kept coming. Emma's name was starting to show up in design blogs. Not because of networking or PR, but because her work spoke for itself. She hated interviews, though. I build things, she said. I'm not great at talking about them, so I did the talking. She did the drawing. We fit. And even when the days got long, when deadlines stacked and paint fumes filled the air, we never lost the small moments, the coffee runs, the shared playlists, the quiet glances over blueprints. It wasn't fireworks. It was foundation. About 6 months after that stormy night by the lake, we were invited to a local architecture and design expo. It wasn't fancy, just community builders and small business owners showing off their work. But to me, it felt like a milestone. We set up a small booth, reclaimed wood panels. Before and after photos, a sign that read, "Built with integrity." Halfway through the day, I noticed someone hovering near the crowd. Tailored suit, familiar perfume, Sophia. She waited until the booth emptied before walking over. Her smile was polite, practiced, but her eyes flickered when she saw Emma beside me, bent over a sketch, pencil smudges on her hands. "Ethan," she said, voice carefully neutral. "It's been a while." "It has," I replied. "You did all this?" she asked, glancing around. "We did," I said, nodding toward. Emma Sophia hesitated. "You look ... happy, different." I met her eyes. I stopped trying to fit into rooms that needed me smaller, that landed harder than I intended. She nodded once, took a slow breath, and said quietly, "I shouldn't have said what I said that night. You didn't deserve that." I didn't rush to fill the silence. For once, I let her sit in it. Finally, she offered a faint smile. "I hope she sees you for who you are." "She does," I said simply. Sophia looked down, then back up, something like relief softening her face. "Good, then I'll leave you to it." No drama, no speech. Just closure, clean as a finished cut. That night, after the expo ended, Emma and I sat in the back of the truck under the string lights, sharing takeout noodles straight from the box. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. It's weird, I thought seeing her would bring everything back. But it didn't. It just, ... confirmed I've already moved on. Emma smiled. Guess you rebuilt the right foundation. Guess so. A few weeks later, we started our biggest project yet. A full restoration of an abandoned craftsman house by the lake. Old bones, cracked beams, potential hiding under dust, as I stood there on day one. Sun rising over the water, Emma came up beside me with a rolled-up blueprint. What's that? I asked. She grinned. Our next home. If you're ready, I took it, unrolled it, and stared her careful handwriting, her lines drawn with patience and precision. It wasn't just a design. It was a life plan. A blueprint for two. I looked at her, heart steady. Let's build it right this time. She squeezed my hand. Together. Now, when people ask what I do, I don't say, I'm just the contractor. I say, I build things that last. And for once, I know I'm not just talking about houses.